Skill builder number 23, we're going to talk about how to debarb a hook the right way. We're going to talk about nymph bodies out of latex. The last one's really cool. How to do rotary without swinging your bobbin cradle over here. Also, like and subscribe or Brigham will come beat you up. Allegedly.
Allegedly!
That's a big brown throw!
Okay, we're going to talk about de-barbing hooks. Now, there are a few different ways to do it. You know, you can leave them in your box barbed and de-barb at the river. I pretty much always de-barb, so I do it a lot just at the vise. So there are a few ways to do this, and I'm just going to show you with a de-barbing tool with some forceps and also with the jaw of the vise, but use this one sparingly and only on certain hooks. Trust me. All right, so first thing we have is a giant, this is actually a bass hook with a big old barb on it. I'll show you the barb. All right, so you can see how gnarly this barb is. So that's quite a big barb. When I'm buying hooks, I want a small barb because the bigger the barb is, the bigger the hole is, you need to poke in the fish's face. This one is actually designed to be a worm hook for bass, but I'm not going to tell you what company's selling that as a fly hook, but guess what? It works great for flies. That barb's gnarly though. Here's another one with a pretty inconsistent barb that's pretty dang big. Okay, and then the old mustad worm hook, we've always seen these, like that's a gnarly barb. So what you're going to want to do when you have a big barb like this is you're going to need a pretty beefy plier. Okay, so what I like to do is, like on a larger hook, I like to grip it a little bit further back, give it one good mash down, and then rotate it this way, rotate it that way. What you're doing is you're rounding off that barb, and now we just kind of have a bump there. On a real high quality hook, you won't even be able to tell where the barb was. All right, let's see if we can do it with this big old mustad. Okay, so you need a lot of pressure on these to round them off. You can see I went back and forth a few times, and now you can see barb be gone. All right, so if you're using a high quality hook like a Tiemco, this has hardly any barb at all. So you can see that one in the vise. That's what you call a micro barb. And I'll just use this. See this this forceps from Umpqua has a part in the front of the jaw with no teeth. So you can just grab that and mash it down. Okay, so you don't even really need to rotate the Tiemcos. And because of that, if you're at the vise, and hopefully Lily Renzetti doesn't watch this one, because she's going to be mad at me if I do this. And I just called her out, so she's going to watch this for sure. But watch. There's a safe way to debarb using your hook jaw, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to put it pretty far back here. Don't use the tip of your jaw. Put it back here, tighten it down a little bit, and just kind of use that angle, and that will mash your barb down really flat. So again, if you have a tool, use the tool. In a pinch, use the pinch of your vise. Did you see what I did there, Brig?
That was good.
Dude, that was good wording, don't you think?
Flawless.
But regardless, debarb your flies. I think you'll actually catch more fish if you do, because they go into the mouth easier. All right, we're talking about latex here. Back in the day, you used to be able to get these little latex strips, only in one color. Fulling Mill has just come out with these awesome, they call it Nymph Rap, and they're basically just latex strips. There are 3 sizes, I think, but they go all the way down to 3 millimeter, which is awesome. What you need to know is there are a whole bunch of different widths available, all right? Brig will verify that on the computer by the time this video is done. But I'm going to show you how a few different ways to wrap with this and make bodies out of it, because it is really cool stuff. We have a size 10 hook in the vise just for demonstration purposes. We chose purple thread because it matches the vise, and also it's easy to see. And we'll try to keep that from swinging a ton. All right, so I have the thread all tied in there. So I'm going to take one of these pieces, and you can see they're super stretchy. And I'm just going to cut off an angle like this, okay? So on that angle, it doesn't really matter if I tie all of that in there because it will all work out. But essentially I'm going to come up the body that I want to wrap and catch in that little tiny point and pull that back and wrap it back. Like I said, see this little point here? We can wrap that right into the body and no one will ever even know. All right, so a few ways to do this is I can take this and pull it really, really tight, and I can make a really tight, cool looking segmented body like that, like on a caddisfly or something. All right, so Brigham said there is 4, 3, and 2 millimeter. All right, so there we have one body. You see how I just pulled that tight the whole way through. We're going to unwind that, and I'm going to show you another way to do it. So I'm going to pull tight for the first few turns, and then I'm just going to slowly let the tension off of this. And what you'll see is this is going to start building up a cool tapered body. So you can see you can do all kinds of caddis with this. You can do worms. This stuff actually works really well to pull over scudbacks as well. So that's what the green looks like. Any of the colors that are semi-translucent, you'll see that they show color through them as well. So I'll just take this one off. And this one I think is called translucent flesh. I'll do the same thing. This green one was a 3 millimeter piece, and this flesh is 4 millimeter. So we'll just tie that one in just like we did before, and you'll see the difference in the size and also the effect with it being somewhat transparent. So we'll wrap that down. And another thing you could do, and I'll do it on this one, let's say I wanted kind of a thicker body, I can build up some thread. You could even run some dubbing down underneath this thing and wrap it over the top. Anyway, you can get crazy with it just like anything else, but here I'll start with a moderately tight wrap, and as I go forward, I'll just let most of that tension off. And here we have like a really cool looking segmented body. You could do nymphs, you could do like a freaking, what stillwater snail comes to mind here. But anyway, that's one way to do it. Let me show you this too. If you take a marker to this, I'll just tie that off. Let's say that we're going to get rid of that. If you take a marker to this stuff, the marker kind of bleeds into the segmentation on it, and it makes it look really cool. Also, you can see very faintly on the very back of it, you can see the purple thread through the body. But if I just color, let's say, the back of this with an olive marker, now look what effect that has. All those little lines are accentuated because it kind of sucks the marker down in there. They're a little bit darker. But these take markers super, super well. Anyway, that is how to use one of my favorite new materials, Nymph Rap by Folding Mill. If you've ever tied flies, you've been in this situation before. What we have is a woolly bugger. We have the marabou tied in. We have the chenille and the hackle all wrapped in. And now we're ready to wrap that up the hook. So on most of my vices, I take off the, what's it called?
Bobbin cradle.
The bobbin cradle. See, I don't even know what they're called anymore. Anyway, I take off the bobbin cradle because I use my pinky as a bobbin cradle when I wrap rotary style. So I'll try to show you how I go about that. A lot of times I won't even do this step, but you can take and put a little half hitch in your thread, okay, and that will just keep it from unraveling. If you have stuff tied in here up at the head, that's a critical step. It's not a very durable knot. All that does is it makes your thread not just explode off the vise. I really like the crank on the Renzettis. I have a crank on all my Renzettis now just because it makes it so much easier with my old arthritic hands to move the vise around. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to wrap the chenille. I don't know who tied this in, but that's too much. All right, yeet that out of there. This is how much I usually like to work with. So I'm going to hold the chenille like this. I'm going to hold it, so I'm trying to show you how it looks if you're, I'm showing you from the top view, but if I'm trying to show you how it would look as you're tying it. Is that what I'm trying to say, Brigham?
From your perspective. From
your perspective. Holy crap, thanks. For once, he comes through with some idioms that I'm not familiar with. Okay, so we're not talking about the chenille here, but see my pinky? This little guy right here, this one, that's the pinky, okay? I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna pull the thread out, okay? Now if you see the small screen, you can see that the thread is directly in front of the hook eye, and then I'm gonna use these two fingers to control the material. Then I'm just gonna wrap away from me, and I probably should secure this hackle feather, but it looks like it'll behave, so I'm just gonna let it roll. And then I'm just gonna keep my pinky out there and just roll that forward. Now, as I finish this, you can see there's no extra buildup of thread. That little half hitch held that in place, and now I can come in here and trim that off. Okay. Now, it is critical that I put a little half hitch here because I have the chenille tied. Maybe I'll just put 2 of them. Right? And the same type of deal. I might get this one started so I can make sure that it's angled the right way. So here we go. Now it's wanting to angle. Anyway, you get the picture. Even if my pinky's moving all the way, all around the place, you can grab it. So very bad hackling job on a woolly bugger. That's not the hackle I would want to use on a bugger like that, but so that's how I do the rotary style, just using my pinky as the hackle or the bobbin cradle, right? Is that what it's called, Brigham? Okay, so anyway, the key here is the half hitch, the quick half hitch. If you haven't seen that video, have we done that video yet? I think so. But you're just going to take 2 fingers, go into your thread, turn it, and just kind of guide it in with your thumb and forefinger, and that will hold stuff out of the way. Anyway, that's how I like to wrap stuff, rotary style. If it works for you, it might save you some time. If it doesn't work for you, bobbin cradles are still a thing. So if you like these videos, or if you have any ideas or comments or suggestions or criticisms about what we're doing on this fly, put your comments below. And also remember, these skill builders come out every single week, so make sure to subscribe.